Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of my Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door speedrun tutorial. And today we are going to be tackling Chapter 1, which is the first major chapter in the Thousand Year Door, and the one where we're going to be doing a bunch of more things that we're going to be doing throughout the game that you'll be seeing. So first thing I want to mention right off the bat is that for this video, unlike the last one, I am going to be skipping a majority of the cutscenes, save for a few that are really short or I would consider not worth skipping. Well, it's something I'll decide as I go. But, yep, we're doing Chapter 1, and here you'll see me getting the Close Call badge, and we saw it a little bit in the prologue, but throughout the game up until around the end of Chapter 2, you're going to be seeing me collecting a couple badges, and we're going to be using the badges to buy things later, so make sure you're keeping note of what badges I collect exactly. Otherwise, you're going to end up not having enough money for things later in the game, and that would not be good, because basically your run's going to die if you don't have enough money. So that's something you want to pay attention to. And here you can see me jumping in the background. Now, I sometimes jump, on the field just because I like doing it for fun. It doesn't make you go faster. But when you're in the background, jumping does make you go a lot faster. And this includes later in the game, like when you're on the moon. Even though you have less gravity there, it does actually make you go faster to jump on the moon, but not as much. So for everywhere else in the game, you want to be jumping as much as possible, so remember that as well. Now, you also just saw me pick up a turtley leaf, and this turtley leaf is very important because we're going to be using it for 2 upcoming battles, and there's a specific point I would recommend using it, and what I mean by that is you're going to be collecting a fire flower soon, and also 2 POW blocks, but you want to use the turtley leaf when you have no POW blocks and before you collect the fire flower. And the reason you want to do this is because if you just press the shortcut to get to your items, which is up on the D-pad, then you can just like mash A and that will automatically make you use the turtley leaf. And that's the fastest way to do it, and you should try to do it as soon as possible. It's not like it matters when you do it, because no matter what, like from now on you don't need the extra FP, you don't need it until the points that you actually have to use it, so it's better to just get that out of the way. And for these fights here, there are 2 fights on your way to Schwamp Fortress. Both times you use the POW block as you would if you were just playing this game naturally. But there is another alternate strat, like if you forget a POW block or something, which hopefully you won't. But if you do, for some reason, forget one of the POW blocks, then it is also possible to super guard both sets of enemies, and you can kill them that way, but it's a lot slower, so try not to forget that. But it's not too bad. Like, if you do it, then no need to fret. It doesn't take too much longer. It's maybe like 45 seconds extra, but still, it's something that can be easily avoided. Now, let's see. Another thing that I want to mention is that I'm also considering for future videos getting rid of some of the backtracking. Now, when I made this series, my main goal was that we could have a series where like I would show everything, so that like if you're a new player to the Thousand Year Door, like a new speedrunner, then you're gonna know exactly where to go. But I was thinking I might cut out the backtracking and just explain where you go from there, like if there's anything special you need to do. But that also might get rid of... I'd only do it if there's like no enemies on the way there and there's like nothing special you need to do if you're backtracking. But let me know what you guys think of that, because it would greatly reduce the length of a lot of videos if I did. And that's kind of the point here, because it's a little bit difficult to talk over so much gameplay, because a lot of the gameplay isn't really needing any kind of commentary, just because there's like long stretches of nothingness. But there is a little bit of something I can talk about this. So for this Thwomp quiz here, what you want to do is there is a specific order that you have to answer every question. It's always the same, the questions he gives you are never random. The answers are always in the same order. So the answer order is the first question, the answer is 1, second is 3, third is 4, fourth is 2, and the fifth one is 3. And if you forget that, you can also check out Almo's guide on the Paper Mario RTA wiki. His guide includes the answers to the Thwomp quiz questions, and you really don't want to forget that. And if you are liable to forget things like that, then just like get out a piece of paper and write it down there. And once you get to this point in the game, if you're like, oh shit, I don't remember what was the question answers, you can just kind of look over, you know, to your piece of paper and see what the answers are, and that way you're not going to get stuck or have to do extra questions or whatever. Now, for this section here, you need to be really careful with the fuzzies. They are very, very fast, and the way they move is extremely erratic. So, basically the idea is you want to be on the opposite side of where the fuzzies are jumping. So, you kind of need to look ahead on the screen to be sure that you're not going to be making bad decisions. And it takes a little bit of concentration, but you should still do it. And when you're in the water, it's a lot faster to jump in the water than to just like walk through it. So make sure you're jumping if you're, you know, wading through the water. And one thing to note with this fuzzy fight is you saw me use the Fright Mask there, and I used a Fire Flower for the first one. But if you use the Fright Mask, there is a slight chance that one of the fuzzies, or maybe two, I don't know how many can potentially not run away, but there is a chance one or more of the fuzzies just isn't going to run away, and if that's the case, then you're just going to need to take it out with Mario's jump attack and Goombella's head bonk. At least that's what I think is the fastest way to take care of it. And now here we have our first major boss battle for Chapter 1, and that is the Gold Fuzzy. Now, when you first attack him, you want to use a fully powered Power Smash, which does 4 damage. And then you saw there the stage fell, that makes it up to 5. That doesn't usually happen though, so don't count on that happening. And he has 10 HP in total, so you want to kind of keep a, you know, mental tally of how much damage you've done. And that way, you can potentially not do the second stage of an action command. Like when you jump, you can see I jumped twice, but if you miss the action command, you'll only jump once. And if it's possible for you to only do it once, it will save you a little bit of time. So it's worth keeping track of your enemy's HP if you're unsure. So that's a little something you can keep in mind. Also, don't forget to get multi-bounce there. You will actually be using multi-bounce quite a bit during this run all the way up to the end of the game. So that's a very, very important badge to get. And now here we're just backtracking. We're going to be reaching the point where we get Koops. And Koops is a very good partner, actually. He's probably, aside from Yoshi, I would say Koops is probably the most useful partner in battle. Because you use him quite a lot, actually, throughout the game. Like his Shell Toss move, and also his field ability is very useful. So Koops is probably my favorite partner when speedrunning this game. Yoshi is cool too, but Yoshi doesn't have any practical use in battle, which is kind of a shame. But it would be cool if Yoshi had like a more powerful single attack, but I guess that would kind of make him a little overpowered. So yeah, we're just about out of Petalburg, and the next area of the game that we're obviously going to be doing is Hooktail Castle. And Hooktail Castle luckily doesn't have many cutscenes. There is, I think, like 1 or 2 that I am going to be skipping, but it's not too bad actually. And I actually generally find Hooktail Castle to be a lot of fun when speedrunning. And here I'm doing a little new part of the route. Basically getting the Happy Heart badge here is a new addition that was recently added to the route. And what it will do is it basically allows you to skip getting the Whack-A-Bump later in the game. And the reason you get the Whack-A-Bump later is for purchasing shop items, which I'll explain when we get to that point in the game. But just keep a note that you want to get Happy Heart there. And we're going to be selling Happy Heart along with the other badges I've been collecting later. So I'll be sure to point that out, though, when we get to it. A little tip I have for this section here is when you use the Power Shell move with Koops, let go of the X button a little bit before Mario reaches the blue switch, because there's a slight amount of lag from when you let go of the button to Koops hitting the button, and the game gives you a lot of leeway for the timing there, so you don't really need to worry about it. So just do it earlier, I guess, than you would think you would need to. And now we're finally at Hooktail Castle. Now, the first room in Hooktail Castle, surprisingly enough, is probably the most brutal in Chapter 1. It's a very difficult room to get the hang of it. It's probably one of the hardest rooms in the game, actually. In terms of enemy dodging, anyway. So you'll be seeing there's like a bunch of Paracoopas and then one regular Koopa. And what makes this even harder is that you need to get the Power Bounce badge, which is completely required. You can't skip Power Bounce, otherwise you're going to lose so much time later in the run. And you saw I got it without issue, but most of the time when you're doing that room, it's really likely you're going to be hit by a Paracoopa, so just run away if you need to. It doesn't matter too much. Now here we're fighting Dull Bones, and it's a really easy fight. You just use the Fire Flower as Koops, and then fail Power Smash as Mario. And I had the stage fall, which kind of sucked. And there we go, we've defeated Dull Bones, and we actually level up for the first time. Now, I'll explain how the level upping works through this speedrun, and it's really easy too, so nobody should have a problem with this. So basically, every time you level up, you should be raising FP, up until you have 20 FP. Once you have 20 FP, then you only level up BP for the rest of the game. So it's really, really easy to remember, luckily. So that shouldn't be a problem. If you do accidentally later level up BP first before HP, it usually doesn't matter, but there's no reason you should forget it. Like, when I first started running, I was like kind of confused, like, oh, should I level up FP or BP? It's super simple once you know that little trick, so just remember that and you're golden. And you can make a note of it too if you really need to. We got a nice little puzzle here, which is pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to explain that. If you've played the game, then you totally just understood what I did. Just do the same as I did, and you should be okay. And now we're heading to the Spike Room, where we're going to be getting our next ability. Now, one funny little thing I want to point out before we get to this room is that when I left this room, the Goomba actually completely disappeared, and I don't know why. But this game has like a weird thing with enemies where they're like kind of randomly spawned in every room, so it's never the same if you like enter and exit a room. You'll almost never get the same layout of enemies because of the way they move, and I don't know why that is. It's a little annoying because it kind of means you have to make up strategies on the fly for how to avoid them. It isn't true for every enemy, but I know for the Goombas that the way they move is random and erratic, so you're going to want to watch out for them at the points that you're fighting them. And there you saw we just got the Paper Thin ability. Do not forget to pick up that badge. If you forget that badge, you will be totally fucked when fighting Hooktail. And even better yet, don't forget to equip it, because if there is one major problem that a lot of people have for fighting Hooktail is forgetting to equip that badge, because without it you can't damage him and you'll be forced to reset. And if you didn't save before Hooktail, which I'm assuming a majority of people probably don't when you're speedrunning, then you've just lost your entire run, so please don't forget that. And there you saw I did the little trick of, if you press the X button, you can grab that key from a distance. I recommend doing that as much as possible. Like, if you need to grab a distant item and you have Koops out, then just use Koops, because it's always faster. And we'll be seeing that a couple times in the run, actually. We've already seen it like twice in this video. So just do it when I do it. Maybe there are times that I could do it that I don't, but I'm pretty sure that I've got most of them down. Also, don't forget to get the key either. It's really easy to just, like, hit that green block and go up, and then when you get to this door, you're like, oh shit, I don't have the key. Then you're kind of fucked, and you gotta go all the way back, but it's a really minor mistake. It's not like you lose the run over it. And here, actually, you can do an interesting little glitch now. You see how I have to press the switch, and there's, like, that animation where I have to wait for the platform to come in? Well, it is actually possible to jump through the open window and skip that, and then just jump out the other one like normal. I'll actually have a video showing that off. So if you want to see me doing the window jump, then just you can click on the screen. I'll probably have like an annotation up or something, or a link in the description. So just click on that and you can see how the window jump works. I wouldn't recommend it if you're a novice player because it's really hard to do. And even I myself, I've played this game for like 4 months now, and I don't do it in runs because I think it's a little too risky for what it's worth. So yeah, just don't do it. And what you saw was we did the Miss Mouse cutscene and everything, and afterwards you saw I started equipping my badges. It's actually better to equip the badges sooner rather than later because once it's out of the way, then you don't have to worry about it. So do that as soon as you can, because I would really hate to see someone go against Hooktail without Power Bounce and the Attack FX badge. You know, there's little details. There are certain things that if you forget, it wastes time, but then there are things like that where if you forget them, then your entire run is basically just gone because of a little detail. And this happens a lot to me, unfortunately. Like, I'll be playing the game and it's like, oh, oops, I forgot this item that, you know, I was supposed to get. Because there are so many little things that you need to remember to get, and forgetting them is just catastrophic. Not because, like, it's not like there's items that you can forget that, you know, would be helpful, but almost every single item in the route is absolutely required in order to do the game, because the route is just that tight, so if you want, it might actually be best if you used, like, slightly safer strats, which you can do. Like, there are much safer methods than what I'll be doing during this run that you can do. But in general, like, if you're someone who, like, wants to seriously run this game and be getting, like, times less than 6 hours and 30 minutes or less than 7 hours, then you're really, really going to want to practice the strats I'm using, because if you're using safe strats, you're not going to be able to get less than 6 hours, 30 minutes. So just do what you're comfortable with, I guess, is the best way to do it. And now we are finally fighting Hooktail. And Hooktail is not too bad. It's actually, in my opinion, Hooktail is probably the most annoying boss to do perfectly in this game. And I say that because the power bounces that you need to do are very, very annoying. So you'll need to practice up. I actually did really bad for this Hooktail fight. This is probably one of the worst Hooktail fights I've had. Basically, I'll explain how you're supposed to do it so that you guys don't make the same mistakes I did. Now, Hooktail's first form has 20 HP, so if you can, the best way that the average user should be able to do it is you want to do 8 power bounces the first turn, then do a Coop's Shell Toss, then do 8 power bounces the second turn, and then another Shell Toss. Or if you prefer, you could also just do 8 or 10 the first turn, Shell Toss, and then 8 or 10 the next turn. But one turn you would need to get at least 10 on to be optimal. So if you can do that, then that's the best. And then after that, you enter into the second cycle. And the optimal way to do the second cycle is just 10 power bounces, because he only recovers 10 HP, so if you get a power bounce of 10, then that'll take him out right there in one turn. But I was really stupid and I accidentally used a third power bounce during phase 1, because like I said, this was a bad fight. So if you have a power bounce left, then try to get at least 8. And then you'll take him out fairly quickly. But yeah, I take him out fairly quickly, so it doesn't really matter too much, because like I said in the last video, I'm not going to be playing perfectly while running this game, but I did the best I could. And I think overall I actually did really well for Chapter 1 aside from this, so that's why I kept this recording. And there we go, Hooktail is defeated. And that pretty much wraps up this video here, because I left in this last cutscene just because I want to talk about timing. Now, if you want to do splits while you're running this, like say you want to stream this on Twitch TV, and I sometimes stream this game on Twitch, I usually do actually, but if you're streaming and like you want to have a split, most people split at the moment Mario touches the Power Star and like the screen kind of flashes white. I used to do it where like Mario would hold it up above his head and say like, he'd go like, yeah, but that's not really good because then you have to like go press the split button and then go back to your controller and start mashing again, and so it's a bit slow. So just do it at the screen flash and you'll save yourself a bit of headache. And yeah, that's just about it for this video, so thanks for watching, guys. If you watched this whole thing, then that's really cool. Part 3 will hopefully be up soon, and I will be tackling Chapter 2 in that video. So, with that said, I will see you guys later. Bye.